Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to day 4 of CDL Super Week. It is time for our Game Fuel marquee match, baby. Atlanta FaZe taking on the Florida Mutineers. We are in our wonderful, quaint, elegant headquarter virtual studio study. It is a pleasure to be alongside of you for our second series. What a good one in the first one. I'm hoping for better things, maybe even in our second series.
Yes, sir, my friend. I cannot wait to see this Game Fuel marquee matchup, man. We got Atlanta FaZe going up against Florida Mutineers. This is going to be a phenomenal matchup. I know Florida, they're coming in hot after that loss versus Paris yesterday, so I just can't wait for it to all unfold on this match.
Definitely, my man. It's going to be fun. Let's go and take a look, actually, at our Game Fuel featured player. This one from the Atlanta FaZe. It is going to be aBeZy. I tell you what, man, this guy has been absolutely dominating to start off the CDL season. I was in a recent interview with Scump, and he was kind of talking to me a little bit about, hey, you know, we have one little situation go down on the Moscow hardpoint, and we'd probably be Atlanta FaZe. The reason for that is because of this guy, aBeZy. He has been frying in multiple modes. I mean, really just has been the player for Atlanta FaZe. Obviously, you look at the lineup. They've got all kinds of guys to look out for, but aBeZy in particular has been so stellar to start off the year. A number of different highlights from this guy, and again, so many crucial plays for the team in that victory over Chicago.
It's just too easy for aBeZy, man. The guy is an unbelievable player with that SMG. We know the pace that he plays at, which is a pace that no one else has in this game, besides a couple few, like Shotzzy, like Huke, even his teammate in Simp, man. But when you look at this guy, overall, you think about every single game mode, how he is going to terrorize you with that submachine gun, be in your face, just playing at such a fast pace. And even in Search and Destroy, the guy is leading in first bloods for this team, and hopefully he just continues that on.
Absolutely. Well, we talk about aBeZy. Let's go ahead and check in with he and his teammates. We'll go ahead and meet the Atlanta FaZe.
Atlanta, Georgia, you magnificent beast, you. This is 2021, baby. And the 2021 Atlanta FaZe are stacked. We got us a member of the Scuff Team of the Year by the name of Simp.
Grabs the bomb, 10 seconds left, and he realizes he can't get to the other side.
The other battle-hardened returnees are aBeZy and Cellium.
Out of the way! Cellium! No, he's not even shot down! aBeZy doesn't even need to go fence!
Arcitys is here.
Can he get the angle over the top? He gets the kill! Arcitys with the 1v2 clutch!
Atlanta FaZe.
That is your Atlanta FaZe, and dear God, look at this group on paper study. I mean, tell you what, these four lined up next to each other is just absolutely terrifying. You got the Tiny Terrors now back with Arcitys. These guys have obviously won a world championship together. Then you're like, oh, who's the fourth? Oh, it just happens to be Cellium. Yeah, just MC to round things out. This group, really from the off-season, was heavily talked about, and they have been living up to the hype. An absolutely dominant roster, and one that I'm sure Florida are going to have their hands full with.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely going to have their hands full, especially with just the sub-duo of aBeZy and Simp. Both of these guys are sitting over 1.0. Simp's at a 1.29 throughout the entire year so far in every single game mode, man. So their hands are going to be full. Hopefully they're able to match their energy.
Yeah, obviously we talk about matching energy. We talk about Atlanta FaZe. Let's go ahead and meet with our other team, that being the Florida Mutineers.
The dictionary defines redemption as the deliverance of persons or things from the possession and power of captors.
It is a 3-0 victory over the Florida Mutineers.
As the act of making something better. As the act of making up for a loss.
It is over, and that is a shocker for the Mutineers.
We define it as inevitable. You can count our KD. You can count our headshots. You can count our hill time. What you can't do is count us out.
Your Florida Mutineers, also a very, very terrifying team on paper. Make some changes coming into the season, obviously. And when we kind of talk about this roster as well, I know a lot of talk has been on Awakening, a lot of talk on a number of different guys, but I think you have the additions in Slack and Neptune. I'm really just excited to kind of see how they progress. Neptune has been great, and I think too, when we talk about intangibles, Slack's going to be that veteran for them, Study, right? The guy to kind of reel them back in, especially coming into big games like this. You like to have a veteran like him on your team. Josiah Berry is really super, super important to them for a number of different reasons.
Oh yeah, he definitely is. Even back when I was competing, Josiah Berry, Mr. Slack, was terrorizing me, Nameless, and Spacely the entire time. We just couldn't beat the guy, so he knows what it takes to win. But when I'm talking about Florida Mutineers, I'm looking at one player in specifically. I'm looking at Skies. Skies versus Paris had a 0.8, and this is a player who was basically an MVP candidate last year. We haven't really seen him reach his full potential yet on this game, but for this team to stand a chance versus Atlanta FaZe, him and Awakening need to be playing really well to at least try to keep pace of aBeZy and Simp as those submachine guns. I need them to step up. We saw them play this map versus Paris. This is going to be our start-off map, and they choked it. They had streaks. They were not able to use them properly to break towards P3, and eventually ended up losing that map. And they went to the Search and Destroy, lost 6-4 with Classic, with an insane 1v1 clutch versus Slack to get the Ninja Defuse on. So that's going to set them back even more. But as I said, when we're going into this hard point, they were miles away from closing it out versus Paris. And hopefully, we're going to start this game off a little different on this Garrison hard point. Like I said, guys, we're looking at Skies, for me at least, to really step up for this team. They're going to be starting on the good side. So if they're able to keep up the slaying department, get some time off this, keep those spawns for P2, set them up beautifully. But we're going to get right into this game with Skies. Sitting around this boxes area, trying to find some openings. aBeZy's going to open up with the first blood onto the point. Slack with the nade for the trade. But right now, Thomas going to Atlanta FaZe. They're doing everything they can to try to hold this from the front side. Skies with 2. He's going to drop as well. Here comes Cellium with the big kill on the point. That's going to slow down the push from Florida Mutineers.
Well, down the push indeed. Good progress made from Atlanta. But again, it's about this next rotation that really Florida wants to hold on to. And when you are this team with that kind of valuable P2 rotation, you got to be careful of it. And you also got to be careful because of the SMGs that exist on the other side of the screen, on the other side. I know we're not on the stage technically yet, but at least on the other side of the lobby, right? These guys up close, especially in a map like Garrison, we talked about that mid-map control. They can be a problem, but a lot of rosters have struggled with the pace, the speed at which Atlanta FaZe likes to play. And I think early, based off that engagement alone, you can see the speed at which Florida has to react to. Neptune backing all the way up to the tank. And aBeZy, our game fuel featured player, of course, one to look out for, starting things off 4-4. He's going to be a menace regardless, and it's really just about whether or not Florida can handle him. We'll keep on board with aBeZy as he can be a big piece into this break. You see player number 6, that being Cellium. He's been waiting here the entire time over in bricks, and that's going to allow for aBeZy to beam, exploding right into the hard point. Skies on the other end. How about 2, nearly a third, but the trade is in. 20 seconds left, and it's actually going to be Simp grabbing a few extra seconds as now our line sight is on the rotation. A big 1v1, and it's going to be Slack who wins it.
Yeah, so Slack and his teammates spawned on Arcitys. Arcitys was able to take down one, but he was eventually going to drop. Now, they know exactly where Slack is. They have to locate him for the spawn for their team. Finally, he's going to be able to take him down. The hill still hasn't popped, but it's still going to spawn the players from Atlanta FaZe actually out. So the Mutineers pushing through that middle map. They're going to be able to flip the spawns and now hopefully try to collect some time here. Atlanta FaZe are trying to break through the front, but the Mutineers are holding.
R&D, the big plays from Slack, and he's going to keep it up. So, again, we talked about the kind of that stable veteran voice, able to make the veteran-type play in Atlanta. I don't want to say uncharacteristically, but hey, they lose the spawn. That was one that they were banking on. In the midst of that, Awakening going on a nice little spree. Neptune starting to beam from afar, tossing out the nade and really just trying to hold off. Again, the speed from this Atlanta team. 20 seconds left, and Neptune is able to put a shoulder into Simp, as well has another one from pretty much every angle. Has to be careful, and 8 seconds left. Florida, they're able to hop on in, looking good after this rotation. But again, now we head into floating tank, and off of this great start really from Florida, given the circumstances, given the break. Let's actually go to an Astro Gaming listen in with the Mutineers.
Alec.
Top K. Let me get there. Mid tech. Okay. Watch
Yeah.
Underground dead. Watching dead.
What do you guys have?
I can't.
Try to get lights.
Back truck.
I'm gonna go top right. There's two Batman. They got me. Caesar and Awakening.
These are dead. Awakening.
Already out.
One bridge.
I'm watching. Make sure you're in store here.
Undergreen.
Undergreen. Caesar.
There you go.
I'm in lights. I don't
Playing
see
green.
anything.
I saw that. Oh shit, okay, no shot.
Awakening, watch our cat. He's going vent, looking vent. He looks vent.
I have a green on me. He's top green too.
You get top vent.
Top green, skies right.
Get me.
I have your bricks. I hear him left on me.
I got mid. Just on me.
I need a light. I hear him left.
Try to look numbers. I'm looking my numbers. Where's that?
Light. Slides. Awake.
I'm free that.
Watch out.
He's right to left. All dead. The rest one. We haven't tried. Try to get spare.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Don't worry about it. Get this 30. Don't worry about it. Yeah, that gets 20 out.
I'll make it lights up. Stand up.
Good job. They're all 20 out. Let's get cat.
I'll back out. I'll make it happen. I got a trophy on it.
My brakes.
Apologies, folks. I saw Florida. I thought Florida. But in reality, Atlanta FaZe study. What'd you make of the comms there from a team that's really kind of hoping to improve in that particular field now with Arcitys on the roster?
Well, listening to those comms, you can just tell with Arcitys, the communication that he was coming on with, he was definitely the leader. He's telling everybody what's going on, where exactly they need to be, where the opposite players are spawning, and how to keep them trapped, and who needs to be on the hill. The guy's just keeping all these guys in check. They find themselves in the lead currently. But so far, from that P5 to this P1, they were able to flip spawns, basically get a full 60 on that P5 as well. They've been playing this so far really good. It all depends on how are they going to play for that rotation towards P2 once again. We saw how easy it was for aBeZy to jump in from top green. That was all on the back of Simp, who was in bricks just causing havoc with that SMG. We were talking about Skies also really stepping up. He's going to open up with a 2P Slack with the third. But they have to focus on this number 8 player, which is going to be aBeZy. Awakening with the big shot punch onto him is going to secure the spawns for their team. And they're going to be getting the remaining time on this P1. They should be able to open up a lead in this map number 1 right now.
Yeah, some big plays from Awakening, some big plays from Slack. That again, our game field marquee player in aBeZy just unfortunately gets dropped. You liked his chances normally in the close quarters, but not able to win it. Neptune being ultra pesky. And Sky is actually not even looking. Awakening's going to have his back. So solid control. You're looking at that map right now on the bottom left of your screen. Only pushed up player right now is aBeZy. FaZe really kind of getting shut down up to this point in regards to their aggression. The speed, really Florida, they've been able to manage it. And Neptune will drop up close, but he's able to do that, right? They're able to kind of send a few players through mid from time to time, getting these 1v1 engagements. We'll see as Atlanta FaZe look to try to make some sort of a pinch from green as well as from mid. Push from mid is unsuccessful. However, the green push is going to work out. Neptune will clear things, and that's going to be 13 seconds left. Florida going to grab it. Atlanta, all about the rotations now, and how about Skies? 22 and 14. The guy you said needed to kind of be that player for them. We know the talent that a guy like Caesar has, and up close and personal with Simp, he's going to win it. Solid stuff from Skies early as Awakening picks up possibly from where he left off.
And this is huge for the Mutineers. All the kills that they were getting was they were able to force that spawn towards that back of P3. So they flip Atlanta right off of this hard point. They're already up by 60 points. They're hopefully trying to get a full setup here. Kills are going to Atlanta FaZe. 2-2 split. It's going to force a player from the Mutineers to spawn all the way out green. But the players are still staying alive on this backside, just causing havoc, not letting Atlanta FaZe try to pick up any of this hill time.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Florida, you'll take that, right? Every single day of the week, right? You're able to lock in the rotation. You win some crucial fights up close. What Skies and Awakening having a big 2-piece to at least clear out the hill. So these 13 seconds, you're kind of aching a little bit if you're FaZe, but you're not really phased by it if you're the Mutineers. No time really is fine with you because you've got a solid advantage, at least to start things early. We needed to see this occur from the Florida Mutineers. Again, a roster that has struggled in hardpoint. 1 and 4 really to start things off, as our Game Fuel featured player will in fact be aBeZy. We'll see what he does again off of the spawn. 40 seconds and really in need of a break. Again, we saw FaZe, specifically aBeZy and Simp, do some good work through the middle side of the map. Able to drop Neptune in lights, but again, that map progress, that progression, that real estate is not being earned at a rate in which is going to be good enough. Awakening up top, Arcitys winning a few fights. Here comes aBeZy. There's going to be the 2. How about the 3rd? Clearing things out for now. 20 seconds, and FaZe finally getting some points on the board.
Yeah, and the Mutineers are trying to do everything they can to just keep them off this time. Eventually try to break towards that 200-point mark. Gonna see a couple players still fighting for that hill. Neptune able to open up with 1, Awakening with the 2nd. But Simp holding down this top green positioning, trying to keep the Mutineers players off at this point. Couple shots are going to go in the skies. He's not going to drop. But just him being this far pushed up is going to force all the players from the Mutineers to continue to spawn on the backside. Besides that one player in number 4 who just snuck through bricks, he could be the playmaker. Neptune, unfortunately, he's going to drop. So now all the Mutineer players are going to spawn towards back tank. This is the best case scenario for Atlanta FaZe.
This could be scary. Nice nade comes through from Neptune, but Arcitys there on the cross. Gonna try to make life difficult, really just to get out of the spawn. So that's gonna be 2 drop for Florida. And really, it's the continued aggression. They're trying to clear out bricks, and they're just having a hard time. And we've seen this spawn trap get locked in before. Hey, we have spawns. Is that gonna be good? Not always. Atlanta FaZe, again, on this P4 to P5, continue to walk away with the seconds. And again, we can't echo it enough. Much needed points at this. And I'm curious if we will see Atlanta, if they do have the map presence, try to push on through for spawns for P2. And it looks as if they do actually get the spawn. So I thought for a moment it was actually going to be Florida who are just going to continue with these. So future of the game, you're kind of okay with that if you're FaZe, right, Studdy? You got finally that P2 spawn at your back pocket.
Yes. Yeah, you're definitely happy with the side that you're flipping on. Make sure you secure those spawns with P2, but the game can end on P1. They have to be aggressive towards this. They're going to have 1 player spawn out, which is going to be aBeZy. Gonna be able to come behind 2 players, hopefully able to get the guy in dark. He's gonna be able to spot him 2 piece for aBeZy. Now this could be the opening because they're spawning all the players from the Mutineers on the opposite side. They do have the spawn going into P2. 30 seconds are gonna be remaining on this P1 hardpoint. aBeZy trying to do everything he can from this caution side. Unfortunately, he runs out of bullets there and drops to slack. But look at the Mutineers, fully set up for P2. They just completely give up this hill, decide to push through green, and they're going to be fully set up. Our Atlanta FaZe going to read this.
FaZe, really, they have to try to contest at mid, and by doing that, they leave that lane open. Player 7 and Simp, he was the last one there. You like the positioning now for Florida. Spawns on the other end. The flip is good for Florida. 20 seconds left. FaZe, they have got to pull off something special. With Awakening back here, he's going to try to limit this flank for as long as possible. 10 seconds left. Neptune finds a big one. Escapes with 3 HP. And really with what? 3 seconds left. FaZe, they've got to make a break. Simp, Cellium starting to combine together, but Skies wins the fight up close. And that will be the Mutineers walking away with Garrison early. A mode that by no means was looking good coming in. And they just beat one of the best teams at Hardpoint. A solid start for Florida.
And that's exactly how you want to start it if you're Florida. And I'm looking especially at Skies. We said it before the series. Skies and Awakening need to be able to perform versus Arcitys and Cellium. And that's exactly what they did. They dominated every single AR spot. For the both P3 hardpoints that they had the rotations. And even if they didn't, they were winning a majority of the gunfights, still spawning Atlanta FaZe on the opposite side of the map. That P3 hardpoint was theirs the entire time. And unfortunately for Atlanta FaZe, they're going to walk away with this map loss, going into the search and destroy. If you're Florida, you got to be feeling great.
Yeah, you do. And I feel like, you know, I would be super happy if I was the coach of this team, and shout out to Atura, of course, but I'd be super happy, Study, with the way that they kind of handled the SMGs up close. Obviously, Arcity's not having a great performance either, 15 and 28, but you know, when you're facing off against such talented players like this, you're not expecting to shut them down. It's really just to try to hold them off, try to delay them as much as you can. And, you know, in a number of different pushes toward P2, Florida was able to hold it well. I know you kind of talked on the strong presence at P3. I feel like, you know, the stars for FaZe just weren't able to fly. And on a map like Garrison, you kind of expect them to. Solid stuff from Florida early. I know we saw this happen in our last series. Solid hardpoint teams dropping things early. We'll see how the Mutineers will face off in Search and Destroy, as that one's coming up right after this break. Welcome back, folks, to CDL Super Week, day number 4. It is our Game Fuel marquee match, and we're heading in to our Game Fuel keys to victory. We'll start things off with the Florida Mutineers. Slacked and Neptune need to keep up with the SMG duo of Simp and aBeZy. Guys need to step it up. 0.8 KD versus Paris, 0.9 overall. Closeout games in the final moments. Based off that hard point, most of those, they've been making pretty good on study. I think, when it came down to those points, we saw, the SMG duo kind of stepping up when needed. They're able to handle the pressure. Guys has a great game, able to close it out. Good stuff from them. Let's go and get into our Game Fuel keys to victory now for Atlanta. Study, walk me through them.
Continue playing around Simp and being consistent as a team in hardpoints. Every player is over a 1.0 KD in hardpoint. Unfortunately, they dropped that map number 1, but it's okay. You're still alive in this series. Win the respawns and capitalize on the Mutineers' worst game mode, which is the Florida Mutineers are 2-4 in hardpoints this season. They just won that one, so their backs are going to be against the wall. They need to go into the search and destroy and be able to walk out with this one to tie the series up, potentially move it to that map number 4. We're going to have Moscow S&D. We just watched this map in the previous series. It's going to be a totally different pace up with these two teams, man. You have Neptune, you have Slack, who are just going to be aggressive. You have Simp, you have aBeZy, who are just going to match their aggression. So this one's just going to be a head bash. I'm excited to see what both teams are able to do strategies-wise to counter each other.
And I mean, I'm interested to see how Atlanta FaZe handle Awakening. Big Wake has been...
He's unbelievable, man.
Out of this world in Search and Destroy. I don't know how to list off all of these stats, but a 2.33 KD in S&D. He's leading in, kills per round. He's leading in first bloods. He's basically leading in every Search and Destroy statistic possible. Not everything, but at least most things. So again, it's hard, right? Because you feel like with a player performing like that, the big issue for Florida has been, hey, we're getting the first bloods, but we're somehow not walking away with the round victory. Obviously, we saw clearly some major improvements in the hard point. I'm interested to see, now that those statistics are out there, they obviously can realize that the performance that Awakening has had is spectacular. I'm hoping that we see a different looking Florida in regards to the Search and Destroy. I know they lost it versus Paris. I think they might have dropped one versus Toronto as well recently. So again, I think that you have some good potential here on a map like Moscow. You got some long lines of sight. Again, I'm excited to see Awakening, but it's tough, man. It's tough whenever a guy is performing like that and you're not able to win the Search and Destroys. In Atlanta FaZe, obviously they've been just fine in S&D all year long, especially winning those two major ones, 6-0, 6-1 versus Chicago. it's going to need to be a team effort, I feel like, for the Mutineers study.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a team effort from the Mutineers. I would like for them to be aggressive just towards that A bomb site basically every single round. Just take that bomb site. Don't try to give it up to Atlanta FaZe. And then even when the rounds are crumbling towards the very end, we know a lot of teams like to rotate towards these bombs. So if you're that island player for either one of these teams, your job is to just simply gain the information and stay alive. Stall enough time for your teammates to wrap back to you to eventually push out a team push and just make it happen. But the first blood battle, like you said, from Awakening, is going to be huge. But let's not forget, aBeZy's on the opposite side, man.
Yeah.
He does it with a submachine gun. So this one's going to be so intense between these two teams because we know Awakening is the king of first bloods. He's dominating in search and destroy in every single category. But so is aBeZy. Unfortunately, in that last series where they dropped that search and destroy, the entire team just didn't play well. But they're looking to bounce back here, and on a map like Moscow, they just watched it get played in the previous series once again. They saw the pacing from both of those teams. I expect it to be completely different between these two.
Yeah, it's really funny that you bring that up, right? You kind of do have the first blood masters on either team, but they just have to play totally different roles, right? Awakening, obviously, with an AR majority of the time, and obviously aBeZy's going to have an SMG in his hands a majority of the time as well, and obviously it depends from moment to moment. But again, I need to see a better performance from Florida and the S&Ds because this was a team to start off the year that a lot of people talked about, hey, this should be a good S&D team, just really kind of based off the players that you have. I know that Slight doesn't have a great year with Seattle in regards to that they played, but I mean, Awakening's performance in S&D, it's undeniable. We know where Sky's history comes from, and I feel like, you know, with that presence that they have, especially with, you know, some veterans, you got the ARs who are going to be dominant in modes like this, they can really teach a young guy like Neptune, who of course has had a great year as well. So it's going to be rough, right, for the Mutineers, but this is their chance. And yesterday, or actually it was a few days ago, when the Atlanta FaZe played Toronto, they lose a raid S&D, and in the interview after, aBeZy says, honestly, they just destroyed us. Like, they were just running at us. We could not handle it. So I think if the Mutineers have done their research, obviously Moscow different than Raid, but you kind of have a few similar opportunities in terms of the aggression. This bomb site that we have on the screen right now, I hope that we see a fast-paced Mutineers, because that was the issue that we just had with the Guerrillas last time around, was the lack of aggression, and I hope that we see that here come through from Florida.
Yeah, and for Atlanta FaZe, when they lost that raid search and destroy, they were just playing 2-2 splits basically the entire time. They were just fighting for mid-map control, completely giving up one side of the map, and the other team, which was the Toronto Ultra, were just countering it the entire time. So I would like to see Atlanta FaZe play a little bit more together. And in the very first round on offense, that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to have Arcitys pushing mid-map, making sure no one's going to be rushing this Eskies area. But all three players from Atlanta FaZe are going to be aggressive towards this site.
Yeah, no surprise. I want to go toward A. Only shock for me is how easy it was to get onto the bomb. Guys was peeking toward the outside, but no presence inside of Eskies, no presence really around the bomb site. Arcitys trying to make some, at least comms clear. Simp decides to rush on in. Great utility, as now they've got Awakening sandwiched. Able to stay alive for one, but then you got the Tiny Terrors on the other side. Best of luck with that. 2 versus 2 now. Tiny Terrors versus Slack to Neptune. Neptune falls all down to Slack, and not able to win it. ATL, they hop onto the bomb, and they pretty much never let it go.
That was just way too easy of a push for Atlanta FaZe. No contestation for that bomb plant. Simp just rushed it right through Eskies, able to put it down immediately. So it was about a minute into the round. Turns it to 45 seconds instantly. Great plays out of Atlanta FaZe. Just set the tone right off the rip with their very first offensive round win. Now, I would like to see the Mutineers respond probably with the same exact play. Not with a free bomb plant, though, this time, because I know Atlanta FaZe is not going to give that one up. But I would like for them to just keep up with the aggression, keep up with the pace.
No Craig for Awakening. Not Miami S&D, but I'll tell you what, this guy is absolutely incredible. He's going to try to help lead the team as they'll actually just rush right into A. So similar position to last round. The nade sticks. Simp finds Slack, and he also drops Awakening. Neptune down the outside is at least able to make things a little bit more manageable. Can he find the kill onto Arcitys? The answer is no. Florida, they try to walk into A, and Atlanta is there to slam the door right in their face as Simp, without a doubt, making a huge play. What has probably a lot of splash damage, not a term that we often use, but that nade had to have affected the other 2 players who are rushing toward the side.
Oh, definitely, man. And that's just unfortunate for the Mutineers. Slack caught a Semtex right to the chest. sticks him right in the face, so he's going to drop even if he does have Flak Jacket on. And then Awakening, he plays for the trade, and unfortunately Simp with that SMG is going to win that up close and personal gunfight every single time with that gun. Now they find themselves up 2-0 on this map number 2. Atlanta FaZe deciding they want to switch up the pace this time. They're going to have the bomb carrier going towards mid-map. Watching that Eskies rush. Arcitys is able to open up the first blood. Atlanta FaZe are just playing this patient this time. They're taking their time. They're making the Mutineers, trying to make a play, especially now that they are down a man. Skies is able to spot Cellium. Unfortunately, not able to completely kill onto that guy. But look at number 4 in Neptune. Going for the super pinch. Might be able to pick up one on Arcitys, and now it's going to be a 3v3.
You see aBeZy, he wants to try to pick it up. He wants to try to allow for those mines to be cleared. Simp coming in from the stairs. Now improving to 6-0. What we saw Asim have an unbelievable performance on this map just a few series ago. Simp trying to put up some similar numbers as Skies 1 versus 3. I know he's been having a hard time trying to take down Cellium from this drop. Just gets drilled in the back. That's going to be Atlanta FaZe 3 up and 3 down. A solid start for the boys in red.
And the switching of pacing right there. Slow and steady wins the race. They force bad map right there. Arcitys once again watches middle map. Eskies rush. Gets one player to commit to the challenge. He was able to open up with the first blood. Neptune, he tried to make the play. Going around that street side with that SMG. Was able to get one, but eventually got traded. Then it was a left and a 3v1 for Skies. And at that point, it was pretty much impossible to do. With the way that Atlanta FaZe have so far been playing the search and destroy, Simp is going to be 6-0. And one thing about Simp is I thought without a sniper in his hand, it was going to be a completely different player, but
yeah,
nothing switches for the guy. The guy was an MVP finalist for a reason. He was an MVP at Champs for a reason. He definitely deserves the credit he does, even if the sniper isn't in his hand.
These guys have got to be hungry, right? Coming into this year, losing the Champs finals the way that they did.
Yeah.
A roster that wants to show that they deserve to be back on top, and I mean on top, I don't mean on the podium. I mean having the rings on their fingers. Slacked and Awakening now forced to reference back, and I'll be honest with you, Sonny, we've seen a lot of 6-1s, 6-0s. It's looking to kind of go this direction as now Awakening is all by himself. The S&D mastermind now left to try and really just stay alive for as long as possible. You've got 4 players, you've got the entire Atlanta FaZe lineup trying to drop you, and we're going to see him go ahead and get outside of the map and just say, stop the bleeding, get me away from this. 4-0 Atlanta. And it's just been flat. Right? I mean, it's just been flat from the Mutineers, even on offense. Like, it just seems like FaZe are just finding these picks, not effortlessly, but they're just making it look easy, man.
Yeah, they're countering them perfectly. Whenever aBeZy's pushed up, look at Simp and aBeZy. 6-0, 5-0. 11-0 between these 2 players. You have 2 players on the opposite side who haven't even got a kill yet. So far, Atlanta FaZe, they are reading the strategies of the Mutineers perfectly. And it's looking like they're going to do it again. A complete blind counter. The only player that's going to be here is going to be Awakening, so his hands are going to be full. He has to try to stay alive and just stall time for his teammates to try to wrap back. But Atlanta FaZe, 3 players are going right through this room with those submachine guns. The aggression is keeping up. Awakening with the big first blood on the Cellium. He's going to get traded by aBeZy. But the Mutineers have all the information that the bomb is going to be planted at B. They're going to try to re-brick now.
aBeZy, how about 3? 1 more left. That's going to be Neptune. And based off a few of those sequences, now we've got ourselves a 1v1. And the rookie go big. Or Florida. Going down 5-0. You may as well just chalk it up. And trying to play the timing. You try to hop on the defuse. No. Trying to seek out where Arcitys is. And he's just hanging out toward the back boulevard. Trying to get the timing. Back and forth we go. Ring around the rosy, and Arcitys is going to win it. Arcitys gets the 1v1, but because of the early plays from aBeZy, which thankfully we'll get to take a look at in this best play, shuts down Awakening from the back street, and really, as they start to engage, watches over his tiny terror brethren, and is able to come away with a few lovely stuff coming in from aBeZy. And what, 8-1, he and Simp together. Absolute force, right? They're called the Tiny Terrors for a reason. 14-2 combined. You've got Sky still sitting on 0, Slack with 1, and aBeZy, shout out to our observers, rocking the streaks. It's going to be a tough time. Tough time indeed. And they're just going to go all around aggressive. They don't even care. The nades are out. Florida trying to reference back, just trying to get some composure. And Simp thought he had 2. Cellium's there for the trade. And now it's instantly going to be Guys and Slack who have to go big. Cellium now left in a 1 versus 2. The aggression maybe not paying off. Oh, Cellium nearly snapped onto the second. The aggressive rush from Atlanta FaZe finally not able to work out, as this will not be a 6-0. The Sky is not having a great performance, but there's a nice 2-piece there to keep him alive.
Yeah, great round out of the Mutineers right there. They said drop ball strategy. Let's just 4-hit something and hopefully we come out on top, and that's exactly what happened. I would have liked to see aBeZy back up and potentially use that cruise missile to force all the players to either stay in that Eski's room or push down towards bottom mid. But he doesn't really need to. They're up 5-1, 1 round away from closing this out. They're going into an offensive round. He could definitely save the streaks for this. He does also have that artillery strike, which is going to give him a ping. Basically a mini UAV for about 5 seconds to locate every single player on the opposite team. Unfortunately, they're going to drop 1 player. So now it's a 4v3 retake for the Mutineers. It's looking like Atlanta FaZe are just going to completely back up and use these streaks from aBeZy.
Our call. They've got nothing they can do. There's missile coming in from the skies, and he's just going to hold on to this one, right?
The angle. Look at the angle.
And the angle onto Awakening. Well, he's got a few more, folks. It's not going to end right here. Neptune shuts down Simp, so what's technically a 2 versus 3, and Neptune's just frustrated. He has to go for the rush. He has to take advantage of the situation that he's got, and Slack, he's going to be on the defuse. Did Cellium get here in time? He's actually going to hop off the bomb.
Oh, no.
He hops off the bomb and he
no.
loses. He hops off the bomb, and that's going to be a victory for Atlanta FaZe. I mean, what, do you think he has the audio cue there starting? He decides to hop off of it? But when he does, I mean, he has to win that fight instantly. That was about, that was like 9 seconds. In which Cellium engages, what, off the slide? Oh, man. Obviously, we have Codcaster, right? I mean, we can obviously tell like where players are at, but still, just COD timing at its finest, I guess, there.
Yeah, there was only 1 play that Slack could make there. It was either he was going to stay on that bomb defuse and hopefully try to get it, or potentially just play the gunfight right off the rip. He would have stood a better chance there. But when you tried to hop that bomb, then eventually hop off it, by the time you get off it, it's only 8.5 seconds left. You have to kill that guy immediately and try to hop it. But at that point, it was too late. Atlanta FaZe just completely dominated that search and destroy from start to finish. Even if they lose a man in the very last round right there, aBeZy with such a great heads-up play. He had 2 streaks in his back pocket. He saw the angle with the cruise missile, able to open up that kill onto Awakening. But that was just a flawless search and destroy, man. If you're the Mutineers, you just got to completely forget about that and just move on to map number 3.
Yeah, right. I mean, if you're Arcitys and Cellium, who still play well, by the way, you're just looking at Simp, and especially aBeZy, and you're like, guys, do your thing. I'm just gonna hang out here with my XM4 and just pre-aim, and you tell me where to go. But still, great performance coming through from Atlanta. And as you label it, Study, I just feel like, you know, and obviously not highlighting that round from Slack. I mean, just in general, it was just an overall dominant performance from Atlanta all game long. But they just seemed to be prepared for everything, right? I mean, like we saw them making certain offside hits. They just seemed to kind of be in the mental game versus Florida, making offside hits, and they would kind of know, like, and when they were making those offside hits, it puts that idea in the back of the Mutineers' mind throughout the entirety of the round that, hey, this can happen again. I just feel like they were on top of things. The one problem with the Atlanta FaZe is not just because of how good they are in respawns, but it's also because of that strength they have in search and destroy. A double-headed, triple-headed beast, whatever you want to call them. Too much for Florida to handle this time.
Yeah, way too much, man. You can just tell Atlanta FaZe definitely did their homework, and they have such an unbelievable coach in Crowder. I actually had the chance when I was competing to win a championship, my only championship with that guy. So I know he knows what he's talking about. And right there in that search and destroy, it just showed. Every single round was a complete blind counter. We got to go to map number 3. Hopefully, the Mutineers can bounce back.
Yeah, man. Let's go and take a look at our U.S. Army tactical play. This one coming through from Simp, right? It was tiny tears all game long. I know aBeZy finishes off overall most kills, but we'll see this one from Simp again, right? We talked about the nades, able to stick, slacked, and from there, pretty much just frees open the lane, takes down Awakening. Neptune from the side tries to do some work, but overall, great job there coming in from Simp. Easily a player who breaks open the round for FaZe.
That's just so unfortunate if you're the Mutineers. Atlanta FaZe just did the same exact thing that they tried to do, but the only thing is, Simp's going to hit a 7-tech, stick right to the skull of slack and eventually get a 3-piece on the round. You just can't read that, man. Overall, if you're the Mutineers, just completely forget about it. Like I said, move on to map 3. Gotta bring the vibes back up.
Alrighty, folks. Well, FaZe able to respond back. It's some good old search and destroy. We got ourselves a 1-1 game going into the control. Our game fuel marquee match is not done just yet. More Call of Duty to come right after this.
Florida Mutineers, brilliant players all round.
It's all on the slack. This is it.
Just straight up winning the gunfights. Now it's looking a bit spicy. Skies on a rampage right now. Run, Florida! This could be huge. Big weight.
Awareness level 99 for Awakening.
And Neptune starting to look a bit nasty. Welcome to the COD League, young man.
Florida just pulled out some magic to make it happen.
And what a show they're putting on for us.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our Game Fuel marquee match. We are rounding out day number 4 of CDL Super Week. It's Florida taking on Atlanta. Lando and Study guiding you through the action. What, Study? We got Control coming up next. Control on Garrison. When we talk about both of these teams, I know we've been talking a lot of hardpoint, a lot of search and destroy. Still got to show some love for the swing mode. That one there in the middle. What do you think about both these teams in comparison on a map like Garrison?
Well, for Garrison Control, both of these teams are undefeated. Florida is going to be 2-0. Atlanta FaZe are going to be 1-0. But the way that Florida Mutineers came out on that very first hardpoint, they're feeling really good. And I know it's Atlanta FaZe, and I know they're a great respawn team, but I'm looking at Skies from the Mutineers. He really stepped up on that map number 1. If he's able to continue that performance on this map number 2, alongside with the beast of a player that Awakening is, then this should be an unbelievable control map. And whoever's going to walk away with this one, going into that hard point, you're going to be feeling really confident. So this is going to be a battle between both of these teams. We know exactly how Atlanta FaZe like to play this. Arcitys usually sits around that top green basically the entire time. As long as they just keep control of their entire map, keeping map control versus the opposite team, just spawn trapping them on defense. So far, I feel like this is going to be who's going to be able to steal an offense on this map.
Yeah, man, that's a great call, right? Because Garrison, in regards to this map in particular, right, it's always about like, hey, who's going to win the offenses? How are you going to do things? And I think it's going to be cool. I'm excited to see how Arcitys, does fare off in regards to top green and how everything kind of begins to mesh, as we'll see another Garrison respawn. But before we do that, We'll take a look at our Scuff Team of the Week.
What's up, everyone? Study here, and this is your Scuff Team of the Week, a super team built with 4 of the top performers at the most recent event. 3 players are chosen by the league, and the final player is selected by a fan vote. Stick around to the end to find out who they are. First up, it's Huke of the Dallas Empire. Huke's one of the 5 reigning champs of the Call of Duty League, and he's clearly hungry for ring number 2. He had an explosive performance in the first week of the 2021 season, scoring both the highest hardpoint KD and the highest overall KD. If you want to check out some top shelf Huke gameplay, be sure to check out map 1 of the Dallas Empire versus Seattle Surge, where Huke drops a massive 35 and 16 KD on Crossover's hardpoint. Next up, it's Simp. In 2020, Simp was on Scuff Team of the Week about a bajillion times, and it looks like 2021 starting off on the same way. What are we supposed to do though? The guy is just that consistent. Simp kicked off the first week of the Cold War season with the highest overall KD and the second highest S&D KD. Of course, he couldn't have done it all by himself. Luckily for him, he's got himself a hell of a duo. Enter aBeZy, the other half of the Tiny Terrors duo. In the 2020 season, aBeZy was known as the First Blood God in S&D, and it looks like he's continuing that trend in 2021. He scored 6 First Bloods over 23 rounds of play, and racked up the most total kills in S&D out of any player that week. He also made the game-winning play in Map 4 of Atlanta FaZe's match versus OpTic Chicago, scoring a huge 3-piece to beat OpTic on rotations from P3 to P4 on Moscow. Our final player, selected by fan vote, is Dashy of OpTic Chicago. OpTic had a mixed result in their first week of play, but Dashy was putting in solid, consistent performances from map to map. His team ultimately ended up going 1-1 over the first week of play, but Dashy's consistency with the AR shone through, earning him the second highest overall KD of the first week. That's your Scuff Team of the Week for Stage 1, Week 1.
And that is your Scuff Team of the Week. Pretty terrifying, right? for Florida Mutineers, you're looking at those 2 guys, right? The Tiny Terrors, they just kind of dominated you in Search and Destroy. They also had a fantastic week last week. And when we talk about this team in particular, I know those are kind of the headline players, but really Atlanta, through and through, this is just a team just filled with players, filled with playmakers, guys who can step up, guys on different lineups who were looked upon not just as a good player, but as the star. So again, it's just crazy that that Atlanta, the franchise, was able to bring all these guys together. One of my personal favorite roster moves in the offseason. I'm curious to see how they fare off, right, in this next Garrison. I know you kind of talked about in regards to Florida Mutineers, the way that they played in that first hard point, the way that they were kind of able to handle the speed of Atlanta was admirable. And I think it's going to be cool to see if it's possible that they can do it again. I know Skies is going to be kind of one of those players to watch, especially in a map like Garrison. So many different fights through the mid that you're going to have to be conscious of. Lots of callouts are going to be kind of going, you know, throughout the comms and whatnot. But excited, man, excited. Florida. An opportunity, a great opportunity to maybe grab 2-1 series advantage. Again, if you're FaZe, undefeated on this map. Florida as well, undefeated on this map. Definition of the swing mode.
Yep, so the Mutineers are going to start off on their defense. They have to make sure they're keeping control of top green, staying around those middle tanks area, even trying to get a player pushed up towards dark. Once you get a clean 4 dead, just continue to try to spawn trap, keep Atlanta FaZe just running into bullets when they basically just coming all spawn towards that back P3. But as I say that, 3 are going to drop for the Mutineers. And this is going to set back because Arcitys is immediately pushing towards A. He's going to hop this point, forcing all the players from the Mutineers to spawn bricks. And just like that, Atlanta FaZe with an unbelievable break to start this map.
Yeah, and that's a great call from Arcitys as well, right? To hop over at A, he's going to at least distract Mutineers. They have to kind of reference back and allow for B to be somewhat wide open. Just a few seconds left, and this one is theirs. Cellium goes for the challenge, and due to that nice green presence from Slack, he and Neptune together are going to be able to team fire to take down FaZe for now. But again, that opening break, again, it's like a fastball coming at you, really.
Yeah.
From mode to mode. 2 ticks already done at B, and here comes the push again from Atlanta.
See what Atlanta are trying to do. They're trying to put their focus on towards top green, but Slack stayed alive the entire time. 3 are going to drop for Atlanta FaZe. Simp is going to be the only player around him in map. He's going to drop now. Atlanta FaZe have to try to push up and play for map control, but the way that the Mutineers are set up right now is basically catching all the players sprinting right into their pre-aim. Neptune pushed all the way up at York. 30 seconds are going to be remaining on the clock. Atlanta FaZe need to open up with the kill on the side, but as I say that, 2 players are going to drop.
Players are going to drop. Simp maybe can make the play. I mean, over at A, it'd be pretty quiet for Slacked. Hear that barrel explode. Signs to come. 2 players drop. aBeZy v Slacked. If aBeZy can stay alive here, that would be huge. And how about 2 from Slacked? By the way, an 8 streak for the vet going off in the early rounds for Florida. And my goodness, what started off as such a solid push, really because of this play up top floating from Arcitys. Atlanta, they just couldn't get it going, really, off of those spawns. Florida able to rebound so well. And I gotta say, Study, I'm shocked. I thought surely they were gonna grab 1 point, they were instantly gonna start to rotate, maybe live start to become a problem for Florida, but not at all the case. And based off that streak from Slacked, rather based off of that kill streak from Slacked, he's also got himself some as well, moving into the next few. That artillery is gonna be big.
And this is huge, man, if you're Slack, because remember them on this map, they like to push through top green when they do have a set of streaks in their back pocket. And Slack has been that player to step up every single time. Currently on an A spree, he was holding down green single-handedly that entire defense. I said it in the beginning of the map, which team is going to be able to walk away with an offense. And so far, Florida Mutineers have everything in the back pocket to do so.
I'm just curious to see how long this streak can go on for. We got to stay on with him. 9 in a row. Can he make it? 10 up close. Ends up dropping. A solid start for the Mutineers. Let's go to an Astro Gaming listening with the boys from Florida.
Cheers. No, other one. He pushed me, rails. He pushed me. Or caution. Caution. Tools. Tools now. He's outside tools. Tools. One tools. Tools. Trapping weak.
Vent. He's on P1. Yeah, he's still two tools. He went
He's in Shotzzy again. Help me left. Get you.
I'm trying to help you left.
Watching the heady.
I'm trying to get out. There could be our caution too. Flashed it. What's top green somewhere? I need it close, Scissor. He's in you. What's you? He pushed tools. Step back. What's top green? What's Scissor?
Yeah, tools.
What's mid tanks, I think. Mid
Tools.
Mid tank Simp. One shot. Mid tank. Out. Mid tank Simp.
I'm one tools.
Simp was mid tank.
He's under. Yeah, mid tank and one's under tools. One shot. There's two caution. Two caution.
You have to. Scout subs. Alright, let's try not going down to any lives. Yeah,
Yo, top left corner, caution. Top caution, watch out, dead.
Nice. What up?
You might be able to.
Maybe.
Go to point if you can.
Under floating, guys.
Yeah, under floating. Yeah.
P1,
nice.
Alright, we should. I'll get.
We're
We
good.
should play that hard for streaks, so when you're like 3 off, there's no reason. I had streaks, you just play aggressive on B. You get up like full map.
Octane there from Florida, as they really couldn't get anything going in this round. FaZe looking good on the defense. I gotta say, Study, really in the comms, I thought it was kind of interesting to hear after the round, them kind of talking about streaks, talking on the value of Slack streak early on, how that can kind of be a factor. But what'd you make of the comms there from the Mutineers?
Well, I like the comms. You could just tell, like, they were still trying to work out, even if they were spawn trapped. Atlanta FaZe had full map control, and you heard it. Sky said, we should have used a streak, should have pushed out the left side. Just played for more map control, and unfortunately they did not do so. But the good thing is they did not waste any streaks as well. And also, they did not die towards the very end of that round. You heard them in the comms saying, make sure you play your life, don't give up any free deaths, because it does go to 5-5. The team with the most kills does get the defensive round. But it's looking like Atlanta FaZe are going to decide to place a lot slower on this second round for them on offense. Sky's able to open up the first blood on the round. Trying to do everything they can. Neptune flanking around tools, able to open up with 2, and this can set up Mutineers perfectly if they just push up and play for that map control the same exact way that FaZe did.
Guys, 9-4, knows exactly where Simp is. It's never an easy kill with Simp, but I'll tell you what, a headshot definitely makes it a little bit easier. And that control over toward the A side is going to be tested. Awakening the big sequence here is he'll be able to drop 1. Cellium's still hanging out. A few players starting to push in from lights. Cellium will be able to take down Neptune, so B's going to be clear, and they're not done. They want to try to put some more pressure over here at A. This isn't just Cellium trying to push in. He's actually trying to play some defense. It's not really about the point primarily. He wants to try to free up his guys so they can take down the point. Still progressing at B. One tick through. 28 seconds left, and Arcitys is the sole man. He's got 4 players from Florida ready to take him down, but still holding on valiantly. Eventually gets dropped, and that presence from the Mutineers continues to reign on through. Possibly another defensive round on the cards. 4 streak right now from Big Wake. And FaZe, not an answer. Thought there might be an attack. That's going to close us out.
The Mutineers, man, once again, playing for that map control, making sure that they take control of top green. Awakening had such a big kill with his secondary in that top green room. aBeZy was trying to go for the 2-piece. Unfortunately, he was gonna get traded, but as soon as that happens, all map control is back in favor of the Mutineers. They set up for the spawn trap. Neptune slides out, able to pick up some kills on their side. If you're Atlanta FaZe, you're just going to get out of it. We have to be pushed up a lot sooner. If we win those gunfights at green, it's a totally different situation. They're probably able to get that B point, but it's got to be scary for them now because the Florida Mutineers still have those streaks in the back pocket of Slack. Going into this offensive round, they're definitely going to try to make the adjustments here to close out this map.
Adjustments needed. Florida now back on the offense. Can they close things out as Awakening able to drop a few? That's going to be the 7th streak after the first round. Catering over. Now make it 8. 1 player left hanging out through mid, which is going to be Arcitys, desperately trying to seek him out. And Awakening, you can just tell it. He feels that he is flying around the map, known for the AR, but my goodness, he is skating right now, Study.
He's not dying, man. Everything is working for him. Every slide cancel, every gunfight is going in his favor. You can tell. He's just filling himself on the map, like you said, man.
Those thumbsticks are hot.
On the 9 spree. And I'm pretty sure this is the longest kill spree that we've seen on control since the since the season started. So Awakening is definitely stepping up when his team needs him the most. Currently on a 5 on the second half, but that puts him on a 10 spree for the last 2 rounds. If you're the Mutineers, you got to be feeling good. Unfortunately, one of your streaks does get called in there, and you don't get pushed up any farther on the map than you already have. That 1 player in lights is in such a key position. Is he going to be able to locate Simp?
Simp finds him. I gotta tell you what, man. After that play from Awakening, I don't know what to do. Like it's unbelievable the movement that guy has. You know what? He's unbelievably accurate at range. Also has the movement. Guy can do it all. And right now for Mutineers, they got a minute 20 on the clock, really because of Awakening's play. He breaks things open, and now they've got some time. Live's not really coming into things as of yet, really just 1 separating them. The Mutineers will look to get set up inside of green. Here come the streaks. These ones from Slack, they've been strategizing with these really since the beginning. They'll place it down instead of bricks. And really, as soon as they start to come out, not really much doing. So if you're Atlanta, sweat off the brow situation, you get through the streaks. The entire team was placed in green, and despite all of those positives, really no progression is made over at that A point.
Yeah, when Slack was calling in that streak, aBeZy was going to be the player on the point. He decides to push into green, take down Slack mid-streak. I would have liked to see one of his teammates watching over him, making sure he secures their life, because once aBeZy opens up with that kill, it's going to set their push back a lot. Simp able to open up with the kill with that XM4, but you can just see how far Atlanta FaZe are pushed up. They are dominating in the slaying department, so they might have defense going into that round number 5. Or might not. Arcitys is 8-15. All the players from the Mutineers are going to be positive besides Neptune. But if you're the Mutineers, this one's going to hurt. You use 2 streaks, you get absolutely nothing accomplished with them, and you still lose the round. Now you're going into a round number 5 versus a team like Atlanta FaZe. So far, this is a goodie, man.
It is. A goodie indeed. And, you know, we were head of the series talking, saying, hey, Mutineers, they got to do it, right? They have to perform in this next respawn. They lose out in the search and destroy. Dominant search and destroy at that. They're hanging on. Now we'll head ourselves to a round 5. Swing mode. 8 and 16 from Arcitys. Really the only player not having the greatest of performances, and really kind of based off of that, it is going to put Atlanta FaZe on offense. Again, defense, it's been the key factor so far throughout this one. It's been the key factor in search and destroy and control, you name it. Defense is the key. And a nice start from Atlanta over here at this A zone. Getting some early time, and this has really been the struggle for them, right? They haven't really been able to get a whole lot of time here at A, and based off of that streak from Awakening, it is going to slow that push down. Decides to go ahead and land it inside of middle. A little bit of a shaky landing, but you like that if you're Florida. Simp, meanwhile, on the back spawn, trying to cause some problems. Flapped again on his streak, now 4. Arcity's the only one in the hill, but that's quickly about to change. Here comes the jump, here comes the push. A collective effort out of Atlanta FaZe. And here comes some more streaks from Awakening, trying to distance them out, and this is the time to use them. Nobody's going to be in the point, but it's exactly what you want if you're Florida. You want to try to have them re-engage from green. aBeZy and Arcitys, the only players left alive through the middle side of the map. 48 seconds. No progress really at B. They've got 2 ticks at A. A lot of opportunities for something to happen. There's 2. In the meantime, it's aBeZy who was on the flank.
Yeah, aBeZy making that play at that A side. He knows there's another player in top green. Cellium is going to go for the pinch, and this is the best case scenario. aBeZy is only half a tick away from closing out this A point and extending this time to an extra minute. If you are Awakening, you do use your streak there, but Atlanta FaZe are fully set up. They do have top green. They have across the bridge. 2 are going to go down. 3 are going to go down for the Mutineers. Last player alive is going to be Neptune. He's going to drop as well. 2 ticks are going to come in for Atlanta FaZe. Slack's trying to do everything he can from lights. Simp's going to be in position to try to play the trade here. He's going to take him down. Only needing about half a second left to win this round, but Big Wake pushing in, getting a huge 2-piece on the backside of lights. Neptune following up with the 3rd. So that's going to neutralize Atlanta FaZe for just a little longer.
At the same time, Awakening falls. Neptune does as well. Neptune was the farthest pushed up player. So, members from the Mutineers are in this side of the map, but Skies is in green. He has to dive out, and he shuts down Arcitys. He shuts down Arcitys, but no one's in the back, and Skies can't get there in time. It will be an Atlanta FaZe victory here in control. One that came down to the wire. And my goodness, from beginning to end, just a wonderful, wonderful performance from Simp. Makes the play. My goodness, Study.
And we talked about it, man, in the keys to victory, closing out maps. We saw the Mutineers. They were up 2-1, going into their offense. They have 2 sets of streaks to be able to open up that 8 point. Then they ended up going to round 5. But at this point, Big Wake's on a 10-kill spree. He's got another set of streaks in his back pocket. But the break-off right there from Atlanta FaZe was so beautiful. They had aBeZy and Simp. They had 3 people, actually, going towards top green. Wins that huge gunfight versus Awakening. Get nice 2 early ticks onto that 8 point. Arcitys eventually completes the capture on his own. But when you get 2 ticks off of A, knowing that the other team does have streaks, they did not use them correctly. They did not get any kills with either one of those streaks either time. But if you're Atlanta FaZe, man, you needed 1 offense, and that's the offense you did. Close out that map.
Yeah, man, you had the streaks, and you're in that situation. And I wonder too, like when we start talking about streaks and how that kind of comes into play. And shout out to Awakening, by the way, 5,400 damage, insane. Or rather, oh sorry, that was score. Damage 3,600. My apologies. I was looking quickly and I was like, what the heck? There's a major difference there. But no, I mean, and I wonder too, like when we talk about streak usage with teams. Like, because of how, weird the streaks kind of were to start off the season, like, we were trying to figure out which ones were going to work best, and we've had all these different conversations about, how many points should be earned for each one, and some teams vending to not scrimmage with them. I wonder if maybe for the Mutineers, obviously you could talk about just, wrong map positioning, but I wonder with maybe the lack of history that they have with streaks, if maybe they're just not familiar with making plays around them.
Yeah, no, it definitely showed right there, man, because when Slack was calling in that streak when he was top green, no one was watching over him. aBeZy just slides into the door, able to get that kill, and eventually walk away with his life. And that's not what you expect if you're that player falling in that streak. You're in a corner, you have to try to play your life. That sets up a totally different push if he stays alive. Unfortunately, they dropped the map. Now they find themselves down 2-1 in series.
Find themselves down 2-1. A respawn, a hard point specifically, is what the Florida Mutineers are going to need to send this game to a game 5. Of course, folks, we've got more Call of Duty to come, possibly our last map of the day. When we come back, Atlanta v Mutineers.
The game has turned on its head.
Run! Run! Get onto the point! Cellium finds himself 2 more. Oh, baby! Absolutely slayed. What a magnificent comeback from Atlanta.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the Game Fuel Marquee match. It's how we're ending out the day. Ending it out in style. Atlanta FaZe versus Florida Mutineers. Lando and Study, guiding you guys through the action. Game number 4 is almost ready, but before we do that, we want to take a look at our USAA coverage moment. This play coming in from Awakening, who we could not stop talking about, really kind of throughout that final, really kind of the final sequences. I mean, what Study? The way that Awakening was playing, the way that he was kind of defending his teammates, watching over them was electric. This play in green, without a doubt, one of my favorites so far throughout this series.
Oh man, just looking at this guy on the map. He starts off this round with a submachine gun, pushes directly up middle map, gets a 3-piece, comes back around, hits a slide cancel top green, stays alive. The guy was just doing it all for his team, man. He also went on the highest kill streak we've seen all season in Control, which was 10. The guy was going unbelievably nuts for this team, man. If you're the Florida Mutineers, that map is going to sting for a while. Like I said, you had 2 sets of streaks, up 2-1 going into your offensive round. Some things just don't go your way, but if you're Awakening, you got to keep your head high, man. You have been dominating this entire series. Actually, ever since you entered the CDL, just continue with that performance, and hopefully your team is able to close out some more maps, because you guys should have had that one.
Yeah, man. Yeah, looking back, like we talk about streaks, the way that things were kind of going, what Slack goes on a streak, Awakening goes on a streak, you really like their chances, and maybe if they have a second go at it,
and a 10.
I'm sure that things go different.
9 and a 10 spree. Insane.
Oh, it is. It's crazy. But time to refocus. Much like we have to refocus, Florida Mutineers have to do the same thing, right? Coming into Game 4, now here on some Moscow, potentially our final map of the day. Atlanta 1-0 on this map. We talk about the Florida Mutineers. They've yet to play it. So, opportunity for them, utilizing some of that scrimmage knowledge coming into this bad boy, but Study, you think it ends here?
Oh, well, I know the Mutineers. If you lose a map like that, all composure is lost. It all depends on just how fast you are going to let go of that last map. Just focus on the task at hand. But the way that Atlanta FaZe are playing right now, man, especially clutch up that they just showed in that map number 3, definitely think it's going to be able to close out here. But I'm looking at Skies once again, man. He had an unbelievable performance in the map number 1 alongside Awakening. If he's able to keep up that performance as well on this hard point, he has the potential to go to a map 5.
Potential is there. Early contests coming through over at P1. And Florida have to be careful because it appears the spawns, actually some Some of them changing up, trying to keep with it myself. So we had a few guys spawn kind of toward that back boulevard side. Florida's still actually spawning over at P4. And thankfully, due to that street being open, they're going to free up the hill. They're going to say, hey, Len, you can grab the time. We'll go ahead and set up for kiosk. So overall, smart decision in a very quick situation where they have to react on the fly. So again, solid early lead from Atlanta, but that's exactly what you want if you're both sides. You want to try to grab some early time. Florida, you want to back up and play what is one of the money hills on Moscow.
Yeah, they have to set up perfectly on this hill to get a full 60, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Skies is able to open up the hill onto the street guy. You see a couple players from Atlanta FaZe trying to push through middle. Now aBeZy switching up his positioning, trying to go into this laundry room. Awakening, winning gunfight after gunfight on the street, able to win a big one onto aBeZy as well. He's eventually going to get traded, but so far the Mutineers are holding this beautifully. With only 30 seconds remaining, Atlanta FaZe need to start thinking about this rotation to the next one. But it's looking like they're trying to commit to this break here. With Arcitys going down, all the players from Mutineers are going to spawn in the back, and they're going to basically hold an entire 60 on this hill. It's all just going to come down to the rotation if they're going to be able to break Atlanta FaZe's setup.
Yeah, and our Game Fuel featured player, aBeZy, really trying to do everything he can, right? You kind of got to take a look through his perspective, how difficult it was to try and break through over at P2, over at Kiosk, but now is Atlanta's chance. Now is their opportunity. Even out the scorecard, to even out the seconds now here at Fountain. A decent setup. aBeZy now here kind of toward the elbow. Tosses out the stun, and he's got two players to deal with, so we're gonna look for the crossfire. He decides to challenge regardless. A 1-5 start for aBeZy. That's not gonna stop him. Wins the big one and also gets some assistance on the other. The Tiny Terrors combined for a few, and Arcitys toward the backside is gonna have a pretty busy time because Florida is gonna be here. So despite the nice plays, Mutineers may have the opportunity to break. They're too strong. I say too strong as in the number 2. And they're going to line up. Wonderful stuff from Florida. Get the opportunity to have an easier angle, and they'll take it. They break P3.
Yeah, they break P3 with about 15 seconds left, but they had one player, which was Awakening, trying to rotate by himself towards that P4. He was eventually going to drop to aBeZy. aBeZy's going to get traded. So now, the Mutineers have full control of Bankside. If you are Atlanta FaZe, you need to try to push through gold. Try to set up a pinch to force these players to spawn out towards P2. And that's exactly what number 5 is going to do. Arcitys pushing through the back. Unfortunately, he's going to drop the Neptune. But Cellium's doing a great job of just collecting time and picking up kills on this hard point.
This is a hard point that was obviously became a highlight reel for Atlanta FaZe, specifically aBeZy, in their series versus Chicago. A highlight one is Skies expected really when it comes down to how this hill kind of works out, right? I mean, you have basically a long line of sight everywhere you try to look. Not a ton of cover outside of a few of those buses. The Sky's playing well. Simp trying to hit the side angle. And he's just gonna pretty much just hang out. Sky's gonna continue to hit him from afar. Minor advantage for Florida as we'll go ahead and reset the rotations. And as Skies falls, okay, I was gonna say, maybe if we do see Skies take that, which Neptune and a few of those guys are actually gonna spawn from the Mutineers over at Boulevard, they could try and make somewhat of a pinch here because you've got 2 from Atlanta inside the point. Looks as if they will actually go toward Eskies and start to flank on through. So just want to be careful of that. Again, P2, focus for FaZe. Florida not able to make an early rotation out of it.
So now, since they decided to do that, they sent 2 players through street, 2 players through Eskies. All the players from street drop. So that forces all of the Mutineers players to spawn top Eskies. It's going to be 25 seconds remaining on this P1 hardpoint. You have to start focusing on P2. You cannot let Atlanta FaZe get fully set up and potentially get a 60 on it because they can open this game wide open. Cellium doing everything he can. 13 bullets in the clip. He's trying to do it. Trying to take out the last player on this point, but he's going to drop. Neptune trying to stay alive and just contest his point. Arcitys is there for the trade. Atlanta FaZe, so far from this P1 to P2, this can be the opening of the game.
Very well could. That's when the lead could start to expand. And really based off that mini-map, they don't really have a ton of players pushed up. That's going to be a nice one over on Arcitys. Now they've got some positions to work with, right? They've got the position to work with over here in apartments. The problem is the Cellium's in the top window. Neptune tries to find the pick, and he's actually going to launch up here. He's going to try to fire on through. Can he find the kill? Brought down to 60 HP, and Awakening was ready for the transfer. Simp's overall going to take him down, and Neptune, despite the nice attempt, he also gets cut down. Slack, the final member, also falls. Atlanta FaZe, or what, going to be up around 160 to 95 coming to this next point. Solid hold coming through from the boys in red again.
And this is scary because aBeZy's opening up with that first blood. He should spawn the player out on that street side. He's trying to do everything he can to stay alive, able to take down Skies as well. He's waiting for his teammates to give him some support. He's winning gunfight after gunfight. Eliminates Slack off the back, trying to do it again. Eliminates Neptune as well. aBeZy going huge off the rotation single-handedly. You're going to see that number 2 player is going to spawn out. Going to decide to push through middle. Atlanta trying to do everything they can. aBeZy currently on a 5 spree. He's going to turn around and try to shoot Neptune in the back. Able to take him down as well. Finally drops on a 6 kill spree, but aBeZy, tremendous work off the rotation there. Single-handedly just keeping Florida off that point for about 20 seconds is the best case scenario now. If you are Atlanta FaZe, you want to start setting up for P4, want to start taking control of that bank area, and that's exactly what's going to happen with number 7 and Simp spawning towards that area.
Yeah, and aBeZy, again, game fuel featured player, makes the play. And granted, it doesn't really work out necessarily for time, but given the rotation, given the way that Fountain works, you're just happy to try to get them off, right? You just want to try to get them off of the hill for as long as possible. Don't allow for them to grab any seconds. If they're not getting time, that's totally cool with you. But rotation now in toward Boulevard. Solid advantage for FaZe, but they're not happy with the current lead. They want to keep it and extend it. And yet again, aBeZy on the flank, causing issues. I think he started off like 1 and 5. But look at him now, trying to hit some beams toward the bus, and the rush is his. Boulevard is aBeZy's. This is where he likes to roam. The streets is what he's choosing to dominate on. 19 and 15. No. How about the 4 spree? Give him any weapon and he'll dominate with it. This guy's finally able to silence him, but that breakout from aBeZy is going to give FaZe some seconds still. 192 to 132. Florida finally are able to trickle back in, but it's these flanks. It's these flanks. aBeZy making play after play. He does it at Fountain, does it here on Boulevard single-handedly. The reason why we have such a separation right now in the game.
You see where Simp is located right now off the rotation, sitting at top Eskies. That number 8 player is going to have a huge gunfight. You see 2 players from the Mutineers trying to push it out. aBeZy again making the play. He knows there's another play behind him. Unfortunately, he's going to drop. But Skies is able to walk into the hard point, able to take down 2. Simp trying to turn around and make a play, but he's going to drop as well. So now the Mutineers are fully set up with spawns going into P2. This can be the comeback that they need to close out this map number 4. See Skies and his teammate Slack trying to stay alive in his hard point. Neptune able to open up with the 1. Skies with the 2nd. Skies with the 3rd. Neptune with the 4th. Only being down 20 points. Mutineers can fight back in this one. They will tie the game up with this, and they're going to be fully set up for P2. Atlanta FaZe need to answer quick.
Need an answer, Florida. They have woken up. Guy's trying to extend that streak. You see him. He's here, and he's trying to get the audio cues for the team. It will be the Boulevard push. It is going to be the few gunfights up close, and Awakening able to drop 1. Takes down aBeZy, which is really out of sight, out of mind. Skies does get picked from the back, and a nice play coming through from Simp. However, Cellium's here. Cellium wins the big fight. Has one just toward his side, and he takes down Slack as well. Atlanta FaZe reaching the 200-point mark, and this is where they can start to extend this. But here comes the push. 3 players from Florida desperately need to get Simp out of this top window, but it's aBeZy up close. He eventually gets traded out. Neptune tries to run right into the hill, and Skies does get picked. Neptune's still alive, but Arcitys is there for the trade. And this very well could be where the game starts to get out of hand. 225, 185. Atlanta, they're not going to win it here. But at the very least, they hold it exactly the way that they need to. Going to be at around, well, I was going to say 243, but because of that spawn from Neptune, probably going to get the call out from his teammates. Hey, don't even try to go for the time. Just be worried about the next one. Rotation toward Fountain. And take a look at player 6. Cellium, along with aBeZy, they are spawning here. And for a moment, because of that push from Florida, it looked a little bit rough. Slack not having the greatest of games, trying to be the impact player. But Florida, they're in the hill. And Awakening, the opportunity to make a play. A few players from the back, they're going to catch him out. aBeZy continuing to be the problem on the map. 5 seconds left. Can anybody from Florida get here in time? And Cellium, he's mowing him down. Simp up close, and that's going to do it. Atlanta FaZe close out this series. A solid one from beginning to end. A valiant effort from the Mutineers. But it is FaZe winning yet another series. Now their 4th in a row. And props the way that they played, man, throughout this hard point. Phenomenal stuff.
Oh my, I thought that was gonna go down to the wire. 245, 245. But they got 4 dead on the P1. They were fully set up for P2. Simp made a play. Spawns in the back, was able to kill a guy off the hill, and then eventually set up the pinch for his teammates. Oh, man, if you're the Florida Mutineers, that's another map that you're just going to be thinking about. You had it. You had the setup. Unfortunately, no one was blocking that back spawn, so Simp was able to make that play. But even on the very end right there, they rotated early. No one was sitting in the back. All the players from Atlanta FaZe had to do was just win a couple of gunfights towards the front. They forced a couple of players from the Mutineers to spawn all the way out at Old. And once that new hill pops, 2 players from Atlanta FaZe dropped, but they spawned immediately at Library. So at that point, you're just fighting waves and waves. Awakening tried to do everything that he could from the hill, but it just wasn't enough to beat Atlanta FaZe. Congratulations to Atlanta FaZe on closing out the series 3-1 in our game field market match.
You got a point at the scoreboard, man. 8-20. I know Slack had like a, I want to say like a 0.8 coming into this series in regards to hardpoint. I mean, we couldn't say his name enough in regards to the streaks that he was able to provide when it came down to the prior 2 respawns. Just has a slow one here. Arcitys as well, 12 and 21 finish. But again, you just have that teammate support. You have a slow map. You've got those other guys to pick things up for you. And as the graphic shows at the bottom, Atlanta FaZe with that victory have officially locked in first place in Group B. And, you know, when we talked to teams and stuff, you know, earlier on in the week, especially for Super Week, obviously opening weekend at the Atlanta home series, everybody's focus, right, was about, hey, we want to get the victories, but it's just about making sure that we can try to lock in that top 3. Atlanta are going to be thrilled, obviously, after that W, that now they have got the first place position, first seed, moving in, obviously, from Group B, now looking into the Stage 1 Major. So big stuff for them. Props. They have been looking fantastic, really all stage long, a few issues here and there, but these guys, again, we've been hyping up in the offseason, regarded as looking like one of the best teams coming into the year, and they're showing us exactly why we thought that.
Oh, man, such a phenomenal team from top to bottom. I know they dropped 1 map, which is the very first map of this entire series, but they win the next 3 straight, and they start with an absolute dominant performance in that Search and Destroy. They go down all the way to the last round in that control, and even that hard point was really close. Just came down to a couple key plays towards the very end. Slack died off the rotation, spawned himself completely out at the very old hard point, which gave the spawn to aBeZy and his teammate to spawn towards back Library. That cannot happen. If you are Slack, you need to make sure you stay alive, because that rotation could have definitely got you back in the game and potentially have closed that out. But if you're Atlanta FaZe going into your major week, I'm trying to think about what they can work on, man. But when you think about this team, from top to bottom, they're just stacked. They have that clutch factor in them. I'm excited to see them at the major.
I am too, my friend. I'm excited to watch them too. Quickly, let's go and reference back to this hard point with the scuff play of the game. This one coming in from aBeZy. aBeZy on the boulevard. It's gonna continue to be something, man. This guy does it versus OpTic, makes the play, and you're talking about, hey, a 30-point game right now. He's able to break things open, shuts down the Mutineers, and pretty much just holds them off, right, for as long as needed. And in the meantime as well, sometimes on this particular hill, you'll see players start to go for the spawn flip, but in general, the boulevard belongs to aBeZy. End of story.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. The pressure that he was able to apply on that side of the map, it's just, if he's dying, it's an extra, basically a wall that the Mutineer players have to get through, because he's so far pushed up, he's still going to be spawning with his teammates. And that's exactly what you need out of a player like aBeZy. Just setting the tone, being aggressive, staying consistent with that submachine gun. You saw him start slow on that map, but kicked up towards the very end of the game. You saw that big rotation out of him towards P3 on the very first hard point. It was huge. He ended up getting 3 kills off the rotation, stalled enough time for his teammates to get to him, And those are the plays that you are looking for in a player like aBeZy. Just making those heads-up plays, winning your gunfights when you need to, and eventually you walk away with the win.
Indeed, one of many wins that the Atlanta FaZe have, not just in regards to maps, but also series, 4 in a row, looking good. They still got the Legion to face off against on February 27th, despite having the first seed. We'll see if they can go for the clean 5-0, not only for Atlanta FaZe. Let's go and take a look now at the Mutineers. Again, Study, some big losses, right? They lose that early one to the Ultra. That one has to hurt. You get the W versus LAG, but that 3-0 loss to Paris, it really sets him back. And, you know, coming into this series versus Atlanta FaZe, it's never going to be easy. But when you kind of put yourself in an awkward position, and then now you're going to face off against a great roster, still with OpTic to face off against, definitely not a performance that Florida would like to replicate still. And there's a lot of positives for this team, right? Neptune's looking better. We saw Skies have a great series through the majority of it.
He did.
Slack had some great moments too. I mean, the team's looking up. It's just unfortunate because of a few things that get away. Primarily, I would say that that Shocker versus Legion, it sets them back, and that's what happens, right? When we talk about the way that the format works this year, you have one slow series, and it can put you behind where you thought you normally be.
Yeah, man, and if you're thinking about that Paris series, that series could have definitely went in their favor. Like I said, they played first map Hardpoint Garrison. They had a set of streaks to bake towards P3. They just didn't capitalize on it. Then they go towards the Search and Destroy. They open up with a lot of first bloods basically every single round, but they still lose 6-4. So if you're the Mutineers, you got a major coming up next week. You still have one more match versus OpTic coming on later on this weekend. You just got to get informed, man. You got to try to fix those little kinks that you have in certain game modes and just be able to close out games. If you're able to close out games, your team will be a lot better.
Oh boy, I tell you what, man, all these matches are getting me super excited. You know why? Because we got the Major right around the corner. The Major is set to be a fantastic one. Tournaments are back. All 12 teams competing in double elimination events is starting Wednesday, March 3rd. Seeding, of course, is determined by head-to-head group play in these matches leading up to each Major. Tell you what, man, March 3rd, right around the corner. I'm super hyped, man. Obviously, all 12 teams are going to be there. And again, these matches mean everything in regards to seeding. We talk about buys. Obviously, you want to be in that top 3, of course. But it's going to be fun, man. I'm super excited to get the first major, first major underway. But Arcitys, you and myself, buddy, we got an interview coming up. But obviously, a great series coming through from the Atlanta FaZe as they are able to take down the Mutineers. When we come back, it's myself and Arcitys for a quick interview to round out the day.
I'm so fly, I'm so clean, and I'm rich. They can't stop it. They can't stop the kid. They can't stop it. They can't stop the kid. Check the scoreboard, I'm running up stats. Numbers don't lie, that's facts. They can't stop it. They can't stop the kid. They can't stop it. They can't stop the kid. Check the numbers, I'm running it up. I got penny bands, I'm thumbing it. Get up out the way. It's ludicrous, yeah, how much I'm getting paid. 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10K. No mob ties, but a player being made. Now how you spoke to your girl, better check her phone. And do you know what she doing when you not at home? And when she tell you she alone, but she not alone. She got a lot of options, eeny, miny, mo. She gon' do what she want, ain't no stopping it all. Hold a liquor in the cup, yeah, I'm topping it off. I might take your girl, take a trip to the mall. Put the shelf in the bag, yeah, cause I'm copping it all. I'm saying, they can't stop it. They can't stop the kid. They can't stop it. They can't stop the kid. Check the scoreboard, I'm running up stats. Numbers don't lie, that's facts. They can't stop it. They can't stop the kid. They can't stop it. They can't stop the kid. Check the numbers, I'm running it up. I got penny bands, I'm thumbing it, yeah. Stop it. They can't stop the kid. They can't stop it. They can't stop the kid. Check the scoreboard, I'm running up stats. Numbers don't lie, that's facts. They can't stop it. They can't stop the kid.
This is your Game Fuel Victory Spotlight. I'm Lando, joined alongside by Arcitys. Buddy, what great series, obviously, from you and the team. You guys have officially now locked up, the #1 seed in Group B. Tell me, I mean, when we talk about this roster, it's undeniable, right? In the offseason, everybody was talking on it, saying how great this team is. Now with you kind of in the fray of things, how has it been now that you guys are months into teaming with one another?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't there for that match. It was a 3v4, so just like I had a few issues with the controller, but like you see the teammates and it's like we could still win this. I'm having problems, but I mean this team's nasty. If one of us have a bad day, which today happened, I didn't play so good. We just still win because we're just that good and our teamwork's really there.
It definitely was, man. It definitely was in a number of different modes, a number of different plays that we could point out where you guys were just in sync. I want to ask you about Search and Destroy, because last time that we had an interview with aBeZy after the Toronto series, he kind of talked about how, I think it was Toronto was kind of running at you guys. You just weren't prepared for the speed of Ultra, especially on those offenses. How did you feel the team looked in offense here today versus the Mutineers?
I mean, Chris and Tyler running together, playing trades when they're not even playing trades. They're just getting every kill. It just makes everything easier. I'm sitting here watching their pinch. MC's watching over them, makes life easy.
Definitely does. Well, I gotta say one last thing here, Alec. When we talk about this team, one of the primary talking points for you in the roster was your ability to reunite with the Tiny Terrors. I know you've been talking about these guys a lot. Obviously, you got MC as well. Just a star-studded looking team. When you're able to reunite, whenever you get the call saying, "Hey, gonna be teaming back up with the Tiny Terrors," what was the reaction knowing that, hey, I'm in? I know you kind of talked about it during the offseason as well, saying, "Hey, I'm in my role. I'm happy to be here because of the guys that I'm playing with." But what's it really like to run around with these three guys? Is it the best team that you've ever played with?
I mean, I've played with this team before, so we won.
Right.
We won champs. We won playoffs back to back. So I'd say it's up there. The Huntsman team was really good. We just didn't reach our full potential. But I mean, playing with these guys, Tyler, whatever, he's okay. The other two are really good, and they just make everything easier. Shut up. But yeah, they make everything easy, and I love it here. Just like again, like I had issues with my controller. Made today tough. Right. We even came out with 3-1, and it wasn't even 3-2. So it just shows how much potential, and like we're just getting better and better every match.
Now, one thing that I do want to ask you as well is after a day like this, right? You guys are obviously 4-0 in the group. Still got one game still left to go. What's the preparation like for this team? I know you guys are a group of grinders, but considering that you guys have locked up the first seed spot already, consider the way that you guys have been playing. I mean, what does the preparation look like when you guys are just playing so well?
I mean, this is why I love playing with these guys, and that's why I'm back every day. Tomorrow morning, we'll probably watch VODs, go over everything, come back here, get ready to grind, and get ready for this Paris match. We're not stopping. We want to be the best team. We want to show everyone that we could be a dynasty.
I like that, man. I like that. I like the confidence. Anything to say to the Atlanta FaZe fans out there?
We're going to keep going. Hopefully we can keep winning. And the kickoff was, it was whatever. It showed that we can win now.
Love it. Love it. Well, that was your Game Fuel Victory Spotlight. Arcitys, always a pleasure to talk to you, my man. Congrats to you and the team on the victory, as well as that #1 seed.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, folks, another day, in the books. I feel like we've been doing this kind of often, right? It's nice to kind of get a nice little one-on-one chat, but let's go ahead and talk about what we've got lined up for tomorrow with our U.S. Army schedule. It's going to be a fun one. The action only continues. We are starting off the day. The LA Thieves taking on the London Royal Ravens. LA Thieves in contention to maybe grab that first spot in their group as well. Also, Toronto Ultra taking on the Paris Legion. A number of different great series between these two franchises in COD history. And then to round out the day with our Game Fuel marquee match, it is Dallas Empire taking on NYSL, the New York Subliners. It's going to be fun, right? The rematch from the Kickoff Classic. I know Clay and the team is super excited about that. And of course, all these matchups are leading into our major. Folks, tournaments are back. All 12 teams competing in double elimination events is only going to continue starting Wednesday, March 3rd. Seeding, of course, is determined by head-to-head group play in these matches leading up into each major. Of course, first major coming up. Everybody, put it on your calendars. It's going to be a blast, and you know, obviously, as the matches only continue, we're starting to kind of figure out where everybody sits, and obviously where those seeds are going to be coming into play. Still some fantastic matches tomorrow, but the entire production crew as well as talent team, I'm Landon Lano Sanders signing off for the final time, saying thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you all same time, same place here tomorrow.